And good evening, YouTube. I hope you do. So I am going to talk tonight about suicide prevention, which is the new series I'm doing which is my campaign, my brand, mental health for youth to go to global suicide by 15% by 2030. Um, yeah, I'm going to need some help, but I think the current trajectory of stress, anxiety, and depression levels are exceedingly too high and have been growing for a long time. So, this particular talk, which is an urgent public health concern in the US now, reference point the Doctor General's recent publication on framework, which I've analysed. I can't say it's anything different from other frameworks being used around this area. So, just a cross reference as I've written it here: loneliness equals depression, thoughts of wanting to end your life. There is a correlation now. So, this talk is really in short, as always, 10 to 15 minutes, but also it will offer some new ideas and creativity and innovation around how we get a better connected world and technology, because technology, through other studies, to us that having a 10,000 or 5,000 Facebook friends are not Facebook friends, they're not friends, and we're feeling less connected more now than ever. So I'll go ahead and get into this short talk, which will hopefully give you a little bit more insights around the one of the biggest urgent public health concerns in the US right now, because this publication only came out literally last month, I believe. Anyway, I'm going to move on with the talk. So, correlation is between, sadly, um, there are many costs to the community. Increase in social connection corresponds with a reduction risk to health conditions, because when we go through loneliness, sadly, we might take up smoking. And this is profound in terms of our health in general for individuals, but also in terms of the national economy in the US, particularly because this is now a public health concern and it's been categorized as that. So, epidemic crisis on the US and other global. So, smoking does cause severe damage to our lungs. We know this, but the risk is there. As much as we want to connect to others, sometimes we feel alone because of different things going on. Stress and anxiety is real, and reference point some of my other conversations. We're not particularly good at actually managing our own stress and anxiety. Now, loneliness works in a slightly different way because it builds up from anxiety, and you can be the most world's busiest person, but you can feel lonely inside. So this is a really important conversation. We all need to feel connected, and sometimes it's a case of we are we categorize an introvert or extrovert, which I'm a really big fan of. What I want to hear is that there are major health condition risks to us as a society in the US. I'm here in the UK, but my love is for everybody to help support global mental well-being and reduce suicide levels. We need to get a better place of connection, and that's a very difficult task to do, especially in the US. You would think it's an easy task to help reach out and put actions in communities, but it's quite difficult. So I'm just going to move on slightly. Feeling less connected in this world now more than ever, and I hope I can bring in some data on this. You might not be able to see it, which is just there in front of you. So around 1972, 30% of Americans felt they could reliably trust other Americans, and now it's roughly 30%. This is from reference the new Doctor in General's publication. So that's in 2016. So you can imagine this is probably increased even more now. Now you would technology would feel more connected, but we don't because technology what we really need, and that's trust in people. And you don't build trust through e-learning or even this now video talks. Although the feedback and response from to do these talks on these important subjects is has been very good. So thank you for those in support of that. So we are feeling less connected now. One of the things is trust, and even where we've had certainly in the UK public spending on libraries that's been reduced. There's a lot of things that are going on in the world that budgets are limited. Okay, sadly, so it's very difficult to creativity and innovation. The framework that I've looked at isn't I don't think is that great in all honesty. Recommendations, there really anything new there that certainly from from an expert analysis on emotional intelligence, I can't see a breakthrough in what he's providing in terms of but I'm going to give you some answers in a moment. So this is something that's quite encouraging. I found it's quite useful from the report. There are three vital components. So you've got structure, function, and quality. So this is not my new publication. I want to focus on the central function point, the degree to which relationships serve various needs. And I have a very good antidote to reduce global loneliness, which will in turn reduce thinking to want to end their life. We all need to feel connected. And in terms of function, we need more mentorship. We need more emotional support for ourselves and others. And the difficult triangle, I think, is the support in a crisis because some parts of the world don't have access to mental health services. And I'm on a mission to try and put more services and education through educational videos around the globe uh, on social media effectively and trying to do some real life talks in the future around mental well-being and prevention of uh, those that sadly want to end their life. So the function now, an example of this could be this depends on every community where they've got different spending. Um, I did a talk a while ago about what we use in the British Army called the buddy system. That's based upon we have a relationship when we go through recruit training where we look after one another. One cleans the weapon. Uh, One person actually it does makes a scoff, and that particular system can filter down into the real world in terms of coaching practice. So one of my suggestions would be, as an example, is more emotional support, e.g., a mental health club that supports and celebrates coaching buddies. And it's not always about funding. It's really, I think, about creativity and innovation that will take the central point here. Excuse me, one of the central functions uh, around that. So creativity and innovation. So that's just a very basic idea stemmed from my own research. So in short, we know I'll try to cap off and close off if I can. Let me just get myself back on here. If I may, yeah, right, okay, I'm back. So I've I've gone a bit too fast tonight because apologies for the noise in the background. I couldn't help the location. So I number one, I want to thank everybody that's supported me in this new series. Okay, I'm just going to give a moment, guys. Sorry about this. Yeah, I'm in a busy hotel. Sadly, it's good in one way. Location's beautiful, but it's not always a good thing when you're trying to do a live talk. But there you go. To try and summarise, loneliness is going up. It is now a pandemic in public health in terms of the United States of America, and the new framework I don't think is adequate in terms of really reducing. Um, Really, the look is it should be how we emotions, how we proceed in life, how do we be happy, how does career fulfillment actually happen. Those are the questions that we need to ask and answer. And I keep coming back to the same analysis, and that is education. Better education in our schools and colleges, and certainly from an adult where you've gone through education, and now most of those Americans that feel lonely in communities, uh, is to put in creativity and innovation and to say to each other, look, what can we do to better connect people? And it can't be through social media because it's because of the levels are going up, not down in loneliness. Social media isn't going to work. This particular live talk I'm doing works on one side for educational purposes, but real human connection starts with face to face, and that's what we need. And it's quite difficult to initiate that, but I would say that just get as creative. Example about um, a mental health club in a community, I think, is a good way. Um, we don't always want to volunteer for things because people that actually are lonely may not, it's very hard to shift out of, and it's really about using with empathy, um, and trying to feel what they feel people feel, because it's not just about old people. We can be. I've been through loneliness. I go through it several times, but I'm in faith. I go to my church and I feel connected, and that's really positive. So any establishment that you can get involved in, if you're going through loneliness right now, then it's important that you get connected and reach out. And that's it shouldn't and it can't always be the other way round, where we reach out to people that think are vulnerable, and that's important for services, but also in terms of our own mental well-being, we need to take responsibility to say, look, I know the warning sign is there. If you go to the store and you buy a pack of cigarettes, the warning is clearly labelled. This does serious damage to your lungs. Say that contrary to self in terms of loneliness, that you know, loneliness can be a trigger point for you to be off work, away from people, isolation. You start smoking, and you could, develop, heart disease or lung disease, and the data is showing that that is a definite, sadly, negative correlation. So the more time the loneliness does cause. Not just cost, but it will cost human lives, sadly, because depression is the underlying score, I think, because these talks are really centered around suicide prevention. So, anyway, I hope that I've got as much as possible in these lessons. It's difficult to cover everything that I want in these short talks, but I'll keep doing them because the data is being positive, and the feedback that those that send me some nice, lovely direct messages has been very nice, and I welcome more of those to keep me going, because um, it's nice to get feedback. Anyway, thank you so much, guys, and I hope you've enjoyed this talk, and I'll see you tomorrow around suicide prevention here live on LinkedIn and also YouTube.